Okay, guys, I've spent a lot of time saying that I'd do it, and I think it's about time to actually do it. No one's a normal person. Yeah, I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk and lay down my thoughts about Classic. It's taken me
really
a few days
good.
to sort of like
It's
compress
the best
it
game.
into some reasonable way of thinking about this, because
Okay.
in a week where I defeated Mythic Una in the highest world kill I've had since Cataclysm, it was
pretty damn
a
good.
joy because it also meant I could go back and play Classic without having to think about raiding on BFA.
That means that raiding is really good. If the biggest relief and accomplishment that you get out of raiding is the fact that you don't have to do it anymore, maybe you shouldn't be raiding. Like, that was honestly, like, that's where I learned that I needed to stop raiding. Is that every single time that we would kill a boss, I would think to myself, thank God, now I don't have to do this anymore. Like, that's the only thing that I would think.
Which is just obscene. It's crazy how much I've had to pull myself away from Classic, only to be thinking while I'm doing other things, when can I log back in? Even after hitting the level cap, the current level cap on Classic is 30. It hasn't mattered a bit.
That's right.
It's actually been a blessing.
Wait,
It's
Preach
been a
doesn't have
blessing
the
to be able to
whirlwind
say,
axe?
okay, the leveling bit's done. Now I can focus on all these other things that I want to get done before the level cap raises. It's like a breath of fresh air to like, okay, I have so much more to do with this character that I can go and do all this other stuff without fear of falling behind or not being up to date with anybody. It's been such a bizarre experience. And why is it so different and to the retail? And no one's more surprised than me. No one is more surprised than me because, as you guys know, in every Classic podcast I did with S-Fan and stuff, and every time I was asked about Classic, my stance was always pretty much the same. I'm very, very happy that the guys who fought for Classic, who were fighting on the private servers through all the nostalgia stuff, and onto the Elysium stuff, I was so happy that those guys were getting what they wanted. But I didn't think it was for me. And that caused a lot of outrage from people who really wanted me to be either on the far side of either.
Let me just add a little bit of background here, okay? So this was at like 3 in the morning. And I resurrected in the water. And instead of the 2 or 3 people chasing me down to try to kill me, Preach and about 10 other people ran me down, chased me down. I had a druid go after me in water walking form or whatever, aquatic form, and root me at the bottom of the lake, and they killed me in the water. This is what happened. This is like 2 or 3 days ago.
Either argument, you were either in full support of Classic or you were dead against it. I wasn't.
This is the Horde right here.
I considered it a different game, which is what I told many people. It's no different to me than people wanting to play Final Fantasy or ESO or any of that stuff.
Yep.
They just want to play a different game. That's totally understandable. But for me, I've lived through Classic. I was there from day one. I was in the beta.
Look at everybody on me.
I played it all the way through, and I was done with that journey
Horde have no
as far
honor.
as I was concerned. Like, Preacher 3 weeks ago was done with that journey.
Okay.
And Blizzard asked me about Classic several times over the last couple of months. And obviously they knew the beta was coming.
They should have asked me.
But I kept getting sort of random questions from Blizzard about Classic. Like, what is it you're going to test in Classic? What do you think about Classic? What is it you're looking forward to about Classic? And my answer was always pretty much the same thing. I'm not interested in the content. This is me of 3 weeks ago. I'm not interested in the content. I've done Molten Core and all the way through now. I'm done with that stuff. That's not what I'm interested in. What I am interested in is the community aspect of it. Like, that's the stuff I really want to experience again. Because,
that's what matters.
And I said this stuff is like, your phasing technology
counts.
is incredible. It's really, really good technology. It's terrible for an MMO. It's
yeah,
absolutely awful. And it really has pulled it out. And I really don't like the way you fill areas with NPCs to give it some sort of artificial sense of life. When, in many ways, because of phasing, I might be surrounded by like 6...
I actually never thought of that, but he's completely right. Like, I hate pausing the video, but like, I never thought that they added so many NPCs into BFA that it makes players feel and not realize that the game's dead. Because you go around in BFA and you're surrounded by like all these other mobs and everything like that. You're like, wow, I'm in the might of the Alliance. And then you realize there's just one other dude there and he's AFK. And he's like level 116 and he's just waiting for you to complete the bar so he can finish his quest. And every other, you know, the other like 50 people there are just random fucking NPCs. Like, that's actually like a That's such a good analogy, or like analysis. I really like that a lot.
60 or 70 players, but I would never know it in order to maintain a smooth operation of the game. So that was what I was really interested in. And then I got to play it, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, man, this is the game I fell in love with all those years ago. And it's the reason, like, 15 years later, obviously I didn't start making content back then, but it's the reason 15 years later I'm sat here having this conversation. It's because of this. This is what sucked me in. And many of you know, when I first saw World of Warcraft and my friends started getting the beta, I was part of a different MMO, much more hardcore PvP-based MMO.
Sorry to hear that.
It looked lame. It looked so lame. I'm not into fairies and shit and elves. So when the guys were like, oh, we're running through Teldrassil and there's all fairies and shit falling from the floor, I was like, that sounds so lame. I don't want any part of that.
No, those were stupid too, actually.
Okay, well,
that's okay.
This is what we're playing now. And I fell in love with it. So what is it? And the big discussion I'm sure many of you have, and I have had this that I'm about to tell you with so many of my friends, is when you try and describe what it is you love about it, it sounds awful. It sounds like the absolute worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it does sound
because
stupid.
You say things like, they can watch the stream and they can see people playing, they're like, okay, so you went out and you did, like, you went to a zone, you got like 3 quests, one of them...
It's because you can show off that you're better than other people when you get to beat people. Like, it's being part of a world. Like, that's what it really comes down to, is that, like, BFA and Legion and all of these other things, all of the other expansions after Wrath, were games. Vanilla WoW was a fantasy world simulator. You went into Vanilla WoW, and there was a separate society, a hierarchy, and a world that you were part of. That's the difference.
Was a red quest, which we're going to come back to, by the way. And it was collect 10 fucking boar tails or something. And you spent
very
2
hard
hours
quest.
doing that because the drop rate was so bad. And during that, you were just, like, auto-attacking, applying rend, you know, keeping shouts up. You did, like, 5 buttons in that 2-hour period.
Can't relate.
And then eventually you got them and went back. And it sounds awful. It's like, that's, if you put it that way, it's how you spin it, and context is absolutely everything. If you spin it that way, yeah, it sounds terrible. But I had the best time. I had the absolute best time.
Goddamn right you did.
And a lot of it comes back to the complaints I've had about BFA, certainly in BFA, but I've had this about the game for a long time, is that in retail WoW, I feel like an absolute genocidal maniac. I feel like I should be locked up and put away. And why? Because no matter where I travel in that game, I eradicate everything. All life dies before my feet. Everything just dies.
Hey, that's
no matter
true.
what character I'm playing, doesn't matter what gear level I'm playing.
Yep.
I am never, ever not God in the game. And it bothers me. It bothers me a lot because I play a lot of different games. Maybe some of you who watch YouTube think I've just played
that definitely is
Warcraft.
true.
I don't, actually. I play a huge variety of games, from normal mode, easy mode, and to extreme hard mode.
One-man
I
army.
will go from a game like Sekiro and have the best time ever, and then we'll go and play 2 Point Hospital Simulator, right?
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Or we'll play some story game and we'll play it on normal, because that's what I feel is the appropriate level.
I hate video games, so I only play WoW.
Ultra hard mode all the time or ultra easy mode all the time. These sort of baskets people put themselves in.
Okay.
I move around and I drift from game to game depending on what I want to play. And when I'm playing an RPG, I need the RPG aspects. I need that. And I look at BFA now, especially after playing Classic and seeing how far we've come, and almost this complete 180 as to how the game started compared to what it is now. And you really see how
it's
BFA
completely
is
different.
kind of an RPG simulator, sort of, where it's like this is like it's almost like a parody of an RPG. It's like, well, it's got all these checkbox things that RPGs should have, but they're kind of meaningless and they kind of don't make any sense. And don't worry about it because you're the hero of every story.
That's basically it. BFA is meaningless and it doesn't make sense, but don't worry about it because you're the hero of the story. I think that it's really funny that so many people like Preach here, Vinruki, and I think some other guys too, all of these guys have all felt the exact same way. And they were very skeptical about Classic, and now they're coming back into it, and they're actually enjoying the game. I'm very, very happy to see that, and it's great to see that, and there's so many people that are actually feeling the same way. And it gives me hope that the game can actually get better.
And you go back to a world where you are not the hero in any way, shape, or form. You are not the hero. And this world is out to kill you, and you will lose. And this is so important to me as a gamer. You will lose. And that's what's so vital about it. And that creates these environments.
Yeah, like if you aggro 2 mobs at a time, that's when you lose.
So let me take that tale of going getting the boar tails for 2 hours, and let me twist it into what actually happens there. The fact is, these low drop rates, which on live would be unacceptable.
No. Yeah, people would hate it.
Take me 2 hours to do a single quest would be unacceptable in live WoW. But in classic WoW, what it allows is people to be out in a world that is considerably more dangerous. Now, this has also been misconstrued about hard. What is hard? And I see people trying to apply, again, a retail context to what is hard. Is it hard that I only have 4 spells to press? No. Is it hard that the enemies just have auto attack? No, we don't need to break everything down into like Siegecraft or Blackfuse style mechanics or Klaxi or Jaina, where there's just an endless stream of things that can happen to you and you have to react within milliseconds all the time.
That makes sense.
No, the difficulty comes from the fact that you will lose. It's as simple as that. You will lose. Pulling 2 mobs will get you killed, which means you have to be careful out there.
That's a warrior
mentality.
boring
When you put it like that, right? 1 mob at a time, that sounds really boring. What it does, though, it creates an environment where there's danger. There's danger, and you need to be careful. And it also creates an environment where you're out there for a really long time, right? You're out in this world for a long time. Think about how much time you spend out in the open world doing something in an area right now.
I'll pause again. I want to say something. The outcome whenever you do a quest in retail WoW is already determined before you even pick up the quest. You know for a fact you're going to be able to complete it. It's designed for you to complete it. There's never a point where you're ever not going to be able to complete it. And I think that the fact that the outcome is guaranteed makes the quest boring. Now, if you contrast that to like doing an elite level quest or like a red quest that like, you know, all the mobs are really, really high level that you can barely even do on your own, and the difference between the way that makes you feel, because you feel like you actually overcame something that you weren't supposed to. That's why it felt so badass to complete Scarlet Monastery, is because you weren't supposed to do that. I think that's the best thing.
It's typically going to be world quests. You're likely to be there from anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe 3 minutes if that happens to have a low drop rate, like it's Absorb Azerite or something like that, which is just tedious. And that's it. You can kind of go on to the next place, or you can return to the city where you're perfectly safe all the time. This time, though, you're out in a dangerous world for like 2 hours. You're not going to go back to town. You need to stay out in the open world. That also means other people have to be there as well, because they're going to be starting their quest or finishing up their quest. This puts a lot more people into an area regularly. And it's also a safer journey if you do it together. And that's what builds the community so much, is you're both 2, 3, 4, 5 of you, whatever it might be.
Wait, what? No, wait a second. Did he just get that necklace?
It's dangerous. And you have to work together.
I need that.
You don't have to, but you both understand, know each other or not, friends or not, that working together towards this goal is a far better experience overall.
That's right.
It's a much safer journey, and you start helping each other. You start
providing smart thing
foods
to do.
and buffs to each other. You start saving people when they're going to die. I can't think of a single time I've had to do that in years, where I haven't teamed up with somebody out in the open world simply because it might get my quest done that little bit quicker.
Well, you don't need to, because you share mob tags.
That's my mindset in retail. Out in Classic, many times you stick around for a little bit longer and help that guy out, because you know he's going to be in a really tough situation should you leave. And because you're out there in the open world, and the quests are so few, and this is what helps as well, the quests are so few that you're probably going to be along the same path for the next little while. So you might finish off these bear tails, but then you say something like, do you have this one? Yeah, I have this one. Let's go.
And then they go do those two together as well.
Every single time.
Exactly.
And it's just amazing.
Fuck yeah.
It's so much better to play that way, because it's not about just the combat, like putting things into their own little boxes. Like, this is the combat, this is the quest system, this is this, which is how we have to look at retail. We have to look at it that way, because everything is broken down into those components. Because we can't talk about the immersion of going into Vol'dun. It's like...
It's also, like, I want to pause one thing, okay? I want to say this again. Like, let's say you do a quest with another dude, and you get all 10 of your Murloc heads, but the other guy's only got 8. And then you leave the group. You're like, hey, peace, and you leave the guy to get his last 2 heads, even though he helped you get all yours. There's like a certain amount of guilt that you feel in that, and also you see that guy later on. And if, let's say, he's like level 36 and you're 37, you think to yourself, is that my fault? Did I cause him to not level as fast because I left him by himself? And so it creates kind of a social contract. Like, there are all these like very, very small social contracts in WoW that are all over the place, right? So like, if one person buffs you, you buff them. If somebody invites you to a group and you do a quest together, you're supposed to wait there until both of you are finished with it. And all of these different social constructs make the game an environment and a world. I think the social constructs, even though they might sound stupid, because they are stupid, that's what makes it good. It's good because it's stupid.
Where's the quest located? Where's the rare located? All right. And that's about it. But in Classic, it's like there's 2 or 3 quests here that are leading to something later, usually leading to some sort of end boss zone. And along the way, you pick up people who are along this journey.
Yep.
And what has happened every single time, I can't think of a time this has happened where I haven't had a decent play session in Classic, is eventually I've bumped into somebody who's doing something similar. And you'll see a /say pop up. It's like, are you doing this? Are you doing that?
Just a minute. I've got to pause again.
Yes or no.
I've got to pause again. Not to repeat what Preach said again, but I want to pause again and respond to something that somebody said in chat. It won't happen today, not with the community that we have now. That's not true. That's not true at all. Even the beta has proven that wrong. Like, it's so clear and evident that this is not something that is a limited time only thing. This is something that the game creates organically. And it won't be the same, but it'll be a lot closer than we're ever going to get with BFA. Of course, it's not going to be the exact same as 2006, but you're seeing the same interactions occur, the same people saying the same things, feeling the same ways in the same way that they felt 15 years ago.
Or it's like, do you need help? You know, this happens as a normal opener. And then you'll work out together. And then it's like, what else have you got? And then you'll work through that together. It's like, right, I've got to log off now. Cool, see you later.
Exactly.
Next time you log on, you both probably progress to a point where you're in the next zone together. And you'll get a whisper from
You'll see him again.
Where are you up to now? What are you up to? And it's not just because I'm Preach, right? This is me whispering other people as well. I've done this. I've logged in. I was like, oh, where's that dude I was with yesterday? I wonder if he's still here. I wonder what if he's moved on, or if I'm just going to go to a new zone.
This is what matters
Maybe he wants to come with me. I've done that on stream. It's no lie. I've just looked at people. I've /who'd the server, see who's around, recognized people. Recognized people from past dungeons. Like, do you want to come along? Because, you know, that was cool. We did that dungeon together. I liked what you did there. We had a bit of fun. Do you want to come with me now? Let's make a group. And that's because we can't
I can think of like a dozen people like that I've met in Classic WoW beta.
Now I've got to make my own groups.
Fuck
right,
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to look at the guys I've played with before and had a nice experience with and go with those guys. And it's just built up this story.
Making friends.
It really reinforces to me as to...
Pause again. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the idea of story. I never felt the need to create a story for my character because the actual story and the events that my character went through and the people that I interacted with were a better story than anything that I could ever think up. Classic WoW creates stories. BFA gives them to you.
Why I never fell in love with the Warcraft story. And even though I've tried to, I always remember in my head, like, I just never cared about this story at all. And the reason is, there is really no story. Like, when I started playing, there wasn't really a story.
Who cares?
Like, each zone has a story. Sure, each zone has a story. And
nobody gives a fuck.
I remember Misrael in Arathi. I remember little tales like that. But my stories are mine, and it's the lore of me. It's not the lore of the game. I didn't need spoon-feeding, or I didn't need a big tale to take me through what was happening in the game.
The
stories I walk away with not just one story, but like 2 or 3 stories after playing Classic. Each time I play. And sometimes those stories are incredibly epic, but even the ones that aren't incredibly epic are still really good. And along the way, it's just been getting to know people. What I did yesterday is I sent potions, mana potions, that I had picked up while I was questing to a different guy who was healing my dungeons a few days ago. I was like, I'll send it to that guy instead of just vendoring them, right?
Look at that shit. There you go.
And he then sent me a letter back. It's like, thanks. Like, that's the world.
It's an environment, and that's what matters.
And I miss it so fucking much. I really do miss it so fucking much, because I haven't changed my thought process. Is that I would rather be playing retail. Like, I'm going to hit that point in Classic where I'm going to be making good friends. I'm going to be having great times, but it's still going to be a world I've done before. And it's made me so sad for retail that, like, I have to go so far out of my way to try and get a good experience. And that's what makes me really sad about it.
You have to try to have fun.
Good adventure in BFA,
that's a hallmark of a good game.
I'm so limited that
you have to try to have
fun.
To
mythic rating. That's it. It comes down to mythic rating, because literally everything else to get the highest possible rewards or whatever is entirely puggable. It's entirely puggable. You only need a +10 mythic, and that is puggable.
It's not even
totally
wrong.
Puggable. And it's nameless and faceless and no communication or anything like that. And maybe it's the beta. People are being extra nice on the beta, but everything that I've experienced has brought up the memories that this is how it was when it wasn't.
I think that it being a beta is probably a reason why things are nicer. That is true.
Was a niche thing or a nostalgia-driven thing. This is how the game was for me originally. Like, that's what I've remembered. It's like, this is the stuff I used to do. Sending potions to people who I'd done dungeons with, that was something I used to do. Like, it's not a case of this is like this little sandbox world that I'm living in, where it's just everyone's being nicey nice and it's because it's preached. This is all stuff I did before my name mattered to anybody ever in the entire world. It didn't matter.
I think that's true, right? Is because, like, everybody, it's not like things are good that are happening to me is because, like, I'm a streamer or whatever. Because you're having dozens of other people coming out telling the exact same fucking stories. It wouldn't make sense if it was only happening to me. And then you wouldn't have, like, all these other people telling their stories, and then the other people that are online that I've talked to that aren't even streamers at all saying the exact same thing that I am. I think that obviously because it's a beta and it's a very, very closed and smaller community, that things have, like, whenever you have a smaller community, social constructs and social expectations matter a lot more, because you can't just hover under the radar like you could whenever there's a bunch of people everywhere, like in cross-realm zones. So I think when actually the game comes out, you will see a lot more toxic behavior, but it's definitely going to be a lot closer to the beta than it is in BFA. So I think overall it will be positive. But yeah, the beta is an extra good experience because of that. Because it's a small, tight-knit community.
This is all the things we used to do. And this is how I got into guilds and things. It's like eventually that guy who I sent those potions to or did those dungeons with eventually got into a guild. And he whispered me, he's like, yo, I've just got into a guild. Do you want me to see if I can get you in? And that's how it sort of develops and grows. But you're doing this with so many different people. You're doing this with people that you met in Alterac. These are the people you met in Hillsbrad. These are the people you met in Arathi or STV. You fought off.
You level up together.
Or you got together, or you had a quest to do together.
Look at that combat
coming back to this danger element, it's actually been strange to me to see the game giving me quests and objectives that aren't immediately doable. I can't remember the last time in World of Warcraft the game gave me a challenge that wasn't immediately doable in terms of difficulty. So the big one right now on the beta is, of course...
You said in terms of difficulty. Because if he didn't say that, then you would be like, well, every single quest that's time-gated.
The Warrior Whirlwind Axe quest. They give you that quest at level 30. Yeah, it's realistically like a level 40.
It's like a 35 quest.
Around there.
Like 36 or 37.
An awesome weapon, which will see you through till like 45 plus, right? Around 45 until you replace it.
It's about right.
But they give it you at level 30. And they give you a piece of parchment telling you what you need to do for it. And they trust the player to decide how they tackle this challenge.
I want to pause one more time and talk about young Asmongold, who had the quest for the Whirlwind Axe, but I didn't know how to get it because I threw away the parchment because I needed space in my bags. So I had no idea what I needed to turn into the guy. I really didn't remember at all. I had no idea. I never got my axe. That's why I threw away the grocery list.
They entrust the player to figure out, are you going to try this now? Because you can do this now. Because everyone's doing it on the beta. It is totally possible, and it happened back in Classic. Is people would organize teams to go and get this done.
Obviously,
you can do that. Or you can be more solo with it, and you can do it over a period of the next 10 levels. You can kind of work your way through it and figure it out, and ultimately you'll get a great reward. But it's down to the player to choose their adventure. Here's the choice. Here's the objective. Is it possible to do this on your own right now? No, it's not. But here it is. And if you can figure it out and you can go on a journey or you can do something.
Well, you get a badass reward. That's what happens.
Then you can do that.
Yeah, there you go.
You can do that right now. And it will give you... And the reward for that will be a weapon that will deal incredible damage for the next 15 levels.
True.
That's the reward they're going to give you should you go out of your way and figure something else out. Or you can opt to do it a different way. You can take your time with it. You can work through it over a nice period of time. And then you've got one singular goal that you've been working to over, say, 10 levels, which will finally give you that big reward. And I can't remember the last time WoW gave the player that level of freedom to decide how they wanted to do things.
What about the wandering?
What about that? I honestly cannot remember which expansion was the last time they were like, here's this super hard thing to do. You figure out how you do it. Right? You figure it out. You leave it. We'll leave it up to you. It's pretty simple.
Mage Tower. That was the last time. And the time before that was the Green Fire quest line for Warlocks. If you want a real answer, like those were the two last times. And wow, what a weird coincidence that those two things are finally remembered as some of the best pieces of content that WoW has come out with in the last 5 years.
Pulled to do, but you know, it's not
what a
coincidence by yourself right now. It's way bigger than you are. So deal with it. Okay. And if you do, we'll reward you appropriately for it. Which kind of brings us to the gearing thing. Gearing things is extraordinary. It's so ultra simple. Upgrades and items are stupidly rare. But goddamn do they feel good when you get them.
You're fucking right.
Really good. I've been excited about greens. I've been so excited about greens. Like getting a really nice green with mail. It has to meet so many criteria.
I don't know about being excited by greens, guys.
I think retailers lack.
I'm a little bit above that now.
It has to meet so many criteria to be awesome.
Yep.
And I showed this in the tanking video I did. Is there are lots of one-handed weapons out there. Some of them are strength, some of them are agility, blah, blah, blah. Swords, axes, maces. But I need not only that, I need that to be of a certain speed and a certain type in order to really fit my criteria or it doesn't work.
Obviously.
And get the same with the two-handed.
I mean, yeah,
they
obviously.
have to meet certain criteria in order to be attractive. And when you get that one, good God, does that feel fucking awesome. You feel really good when you see that item that is properly itemized. It's set up nicely. Even if it's braces.
Those shoulders right there, man.
Braces from
those shoulders.
Like a white item, and then you see a green with some strength on it or some stamina, and you're like, dude, those are fucking awesome.
Fuck yeah.
And the reason they're awesome is it's an immediately noticeable leap forward. It's immediately noticeable. You start surviving that little bit longer. You start seeing these crits go that little bit higher. And that's a big advantage of another complaint I've had about BFA. I mean, everything I've been arguing about with the BFA and Legion is all becoming back to me now as to why I find this stuff problematic. And again, it was highlighted in the tank video, is, yes, the gameplay is much slower. But the advantage is I know exactly what my character is doing. I know exactly what's happening. I know which, because there's white hits and there's yellow hits, right? And I can only do one ability.
That's actually true.
Per global.
That's very fucking true.
Attack this enemy. I don't have procs and all this nonsense just constantly clobbering at
They're
targets.
They're going to fucking wipe.
Procs. And you guys should know how much issue I take with Blizzard just giving us items that do random amounts of damage. And saying, well, technically a DPS did go up. It did, but it's nothing to do with me, and I can't tell it's happening. Whereas when you're playing Classic, I know every Sunder that's missed, hit, parried, dodged.
It matters.
I know every revenge that's worked that way. I know every single spell, whether I dodged. I know that if I see a dodge pop above that head, that I know my overpowers procs. I don't need a weak aura. I don't need fuck off. I know that was my attack. I know that it dodged. And because it's very clear what's happening with my character, when I press a button, a clear and easy response to what happened to the enemy, whether I did damage or not. That's common fucking
sense. Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
there you go. And because there's so much fewer going on, but it's stuff I've done, right? There's so fewer attacks.
Yep.
But I know each and every one.
You don't need them.
That's happened. I know when I see that big white hit, it's because my two-hander swung and hit it. I know when I see that yellow hit, it's because it's the button I just pressed.
Oh, jeez.
So if I press a heroic strike and I see that big yellow number pop up, I know that's my heroic strike. So I then noticeably see the gain that my character has made in terms of his damage from those braces. Because I'll see a larger number appear when I pop that XQ. That big yellow XQ pops up, and now it's like doing 500 plus damage.
There's the
it's
axe
like,
right
whoa. Before it was doing like 4 something. Now we're over 500, and you're meeting these landmarks as you're moving up on your character. And then you get a new cape that does the same thing. And because it's so tactile in its responsiveness to what it is that I'm doing, it makes gear feel so much better. Overall, the whole package, getting it feels better, equipping it feels better, using it feels better, and then keeping it going also feels so much better.
You're saying feels better, not is better. Keep that in mind.
A simpler system. Like we've been asking for.
Keep that in mind.
I've been asking for a long time. Stop stacking us up with procs and fireworks. And I compared it to a little bit like Risk of Rain, where you can get so many automatic weaponry that you could stand still and all your automatic shit will just destroy things around you. And
it's like Diablo, basically.
It's not that fun. It's not fun. It might look flashy and amazing. And
well, it's like playing Grand Theft Auto whenever you use all the cheat codes, right? It's fun to go around and you have a rocket launcher and a tank and you're invincible and you can just kill everything in one hit. And it's fun for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then you quit the game because now it's boring. Like, that's basically what they've done. They give people all the things that they want at the beginning, and they're not able to attain anything because it's just a repeat of what they already had.
All this kind of stuff. It might look like an entire fireworks display shooting off, but it's nothing to do with me in any way. And now just having a very straight one-to-one tactile feedback over what happens compared to what I did. I know that when I go for a hamstring and I see dodge, I know that just from the yellow word that was my hamstring that dodged, right? And if I compare it to live, I don't know.
You know
if
exactly
I fire
what's going on
at an enemy, and any character I have, I see a whole slew of numbers pop up from all difference, from thousands to hundreds and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't really know what's doing that damage. I have no idea.
You have to have an add-on for that.
What's doing that damage, and it really highlights how problematic that is in terms of creating a good gameplay experience.
Well, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. It's not even complicated.
There isn't much to dislike here.
Yeah.
I really do still wish I would like to play retail, but retail has a lot of work to do. And my biggest fear is, as many have said, that Blizzard might, and this is my biggest fear, this is like being ultra pessimistic about things, is Blizzard might look at what's happening here and say, right, we can go, all the really hardcore guys who like RPGs like heavily, they'll go to Classic, right? And that means for the guys who stay with BFA and stay
the
with
retail spurs,
current plan is for retail, is that they will make that ever more casual and mobile phone game friendly, because a lot of stuff in retail is ripped from mobile phone games at this point. And we've looked at the 8.2 zones, and again, you're God.
Yeah,
as soon as you arrive, you're eradicating everything in sight. Like, the limitations are artificially enforced by gating. There's nothing stopping you from just wiping out the entire fucking zone when you go to Najatar or to Mechagon. You can just destroy everything in sight.
Yeah, I guess so. That's actually true.
I can't do that in Arathi Highlands. One day I'll be able to, but it's going to be a while.
You've got to fucking
I
can't
can't
do that
in Classic. It's just not the case. I turn up in an area, a new area, like the new zones would be.
Yep.
And in Classic, it'll be places like Lights Hope Chapel and stuff like that. And it's like, you're not winning there. You're going to get your ass kicked. You've got to be careful. You've got to play out. And that adds so much.
Unless you have a 40-man raid, really then it's completely fine.
Well, they might make live a bit more casual friendly, because they'll push the guys who like the RPG stuff over towards Classic. And it will divide the player base, undoubtedly. This isn't going to be for everybody.
Obviously, yeah,
for the people
of course.
who joined and really like being God. For the people who've started playing WoW in the later years and they like being God, they like being the master of everything. They like not failing, right? Because as I said, you really do have to go out of your way to bump into difficulty in retail. You have to go out of your way to do that. And
well, there's only like 3 things in the game that are hard now.
Of them, I mean, there's always going to be some crossover, but some people will just
everything else is a fucking joke.
This really sucks, because they're going to look at it through the eyes of a retail WoW player, where it makes no sense that a wolf can kill you, right? This doesn't make sense. I just was eradicating a camp full of Naga just 10 seconds ago. Why am I dying to a wolf now? What is this game? People will have that mentality, and for them it won't work. But there'll be some players who are like, oh, I get it. And that divide's going to be interesting to see how it plays out going forward. But here we are. Right now, I'll play Classic every single day and leave retail to raiding with the guys, because I still love that. That's still fun. But at the
raiding
moment,
is still good.
Classic's just a better video game, in my opinion, and that's my summary on it. It's a better video game. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
There it is.
I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
I want to tell a story.
It was a radical.
Before I talk about the video, I want to tell a story about this place right here. Many years ago, I got on Jeff's account. He was standing in this place, free win post. And I was mad at Jeff, I forgot why. And I walked over to that orc vendor right behind him. And I put every single item in the vendor. There was a random level 8 character, or level 20 character. I traded this random character all of Jeff's gold on the very edge of free win post and jumped Jeff's character off the edge and killed it. And then made him take res sick. And then I went back up there and I killed it again. If you knew Jeff, you'd know that he deserved it. I forgot why he deserved it, but he did. All right? If you knew Jeff, you would know that he deserved it 100%. Okay, guys? You don't know him? Trust me. Watch retail player tries tanking in vanilla. I don't want to go through a million videos, okay? So if this is like going to be something short, I might look at it. But right now, I want to talk about this video. Obviously, Preach. People like Preach are the ones that I think that it's the most important that are converted over to being fans about being Classic, right? Because one of his concerns, I think is very true, right? Is that whenever Classic comes out, is that going to tell Blizzard, okay, well, we'll just make all the hardcore players go to Classic and all of the, slot machine babies play BFA? And I think that might happen. I hope it doesn't. What I hope happens is that Blizzard realizes and they see how many people like Classic and why it's such a good game. And then they say, hey, what the fuck are we doing? Let's try to make our game more like the one that everybody likes, even though it's 10 years ago, right? And I don't know really, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I do share Preacher's concern that if they do have 2 games, Blizzard might just start developing BFA and the current retail game to be even more basically a phone game. That's totally fucking true. And I don't know really what we could even do about that. I mean, it sounds like something that sucks, but what do we really, like, how do we stop that from happening? I don't fucking know. There'll be more casual. Aren't there more casuals than hardcore players? Well, it depends on how you define casual and hardcore, right? I think that Classic is a better game for casual players. I don't think that Classic WoW is for hardcore players and BFA is for casuals, because there's a lot of things in BFA that are much more hardcore than Classic ever was. I mean, you think about farming out your necklace to level 50 by doing the same fucking bullshit island expedition 50 times. Like, that's way worse than almost anything else in Classic WoW, especially things you actually needed to do, right? I mean, like, you could look at the Winter Spring Frost Sabers and say, okay, yeah, it's not that bad. But for the most part, I mean, a lot of the grinds you have to do in BFA are equally horrible, if not even worse than the grinds that you had to do in Classic. So this idea that Classic is somehow hardcore friendly in a way that BFA isn't is completely fucking stupid. And I get why people think that, I do, but the thing is that what Preach is saying about like using your abilities and seeing the impact of your abilities and the impact of your time, yes, obviously that does favor players that are able to put more time into the game, but that's what a game like this is supposed to do. And it creates classes of players and it creates aspiration. Whenever you die to like somebody with really, really good gear, you can blame yourself, you can get mad or whatever, or you can try to actually get better gear and outplay them. And because there are other ways besides skill to be able to beat people, it actually makes the game more casual friendly, because there's going to be tons of people that play Classic that fucking suck at it, and they're always going to suck at it. But if they have full tier 2.5 and let's say like Might of Minotho, they're still going to win. Doesn't matter, because they've got really good gear. And that's the way that games work. I'm counting on it. Let me tell you that. I'm really counting on it. And there's plenty of different things like this. Like what Preach is saying, like everything that he's saying about Classic is totally true. Like I've done this quest right here, the Cyclonian quest, like 3 or 4 times for different warriors in my guild. Why have I done it? Because I felt like if we had more warriors with the Whirlwind Axe, we'd be better as a guild in World PvP. I have never helped anybody with a quest in BFA, and I don't think I ever did in Legion either. Why? Because fuck them, who cares? It doesn't matter. If they can't complete it on their own, they suck anyway. Why would you, like what quest would you even be able to hypothetically help somebody do? There would be nothing. And all of these different things that Preach is talking about are completely true. And it's the secondary effects, the feels, right? And I know, like, it's kind of a meme, you know, like feels over reals. But Classic WoW proves that shit is true. Like, that's why Ian has to sit there in the Q&As and explain why people should be having fun. A game should never have to explain to you why you're having fun or why you should have fun. People in BFA and current WoW have to go out of their way to have fun. People in Classic WoW have fun by playing the game. Whenever I play BFA and I level through BFA, I get nothing. I actually lose things because I'm losing my tier set bonuses and everything else. I lose things. In Classic, I level up, I gain abilities, I'm able to train those abilities, and I am in more control of my character. I have more agency over the outcome of my gameplay. In BFA, you are put, it's like a theme park. But the only problem with BFA and being a theme park is whenever you find a good ride that you like a lot, Blizzard shuts it down. Every time people figure out like some kind of cool way of doing stuff, Blizzard shuts it down because they have a very, very defined way that they want people to play the game. They have created a flowchart probably at Blizzard headquarters of every single checklist that all players should be doing. And if people are going outside of that checklist, outside of that flowchart, they X that box right the fuck out of the entire game. Fun detected. I understand that Blizzard doesn't want to have things that are completely OP, but the issue is that there's a lot of things like this, right? Like this right here. Why would somebody go out and kill random like level 37 elite and just spend like he probably spent like 10 minutes killing this mob? And you know what he got out of it? Most likely, nothing. Got nothing out of it. Because you're on an adventure. And it's a role-playing game. I don't think BFA, people don't even treat BFA like a game anymore. Like, I don't know, what would you say that people treat BFA like? Like, I don't know if the right word is for it. It's not a casino. I think that's way too two-dimensional. Like an addiction, a chore. Maybe like a school class. I think maybe like a class in school. That would be a pretty good analogy for me, right? Is that you have your, you go and you do your homework. That's your island expeditions. And then you do your in-game classwork. That's your Mythic Plus dungeons. And then, finally, let's see what you've learned in your classwork and your homework. Here's the raid, and that's your final exam or, your test that you're taking in the class. I feel like you can go on and on with the metaphors, and the only difference there, obviously, is you don't have, like, the random generators that BFA has. But, I mean, like, yeah, I think that it's either a habit, a checklist, but the last thing that I would call it would be a game. If the Blizzard devs are not sitting here watching all of these people change their perspectives on Classic and feel the same way, that I'm sure that's the worst part, man, is that a lot of these Blizzard devs probably started playing WoW and that inspired them to work at Blizzard. Like, just go back and remember why you love the game. Like, that was J. Allen Brack. I think he played WoW before he worked at Blizzard, right? Alex Afrasabi, Tom Chilton, I think, as well. Jeff Kaplan, Ian Hasekostas. All of these guys play, I mean, like, why did you play the game? Like, it's just Neckbeard Quiz Season 4 is out. Do it. We'll see what happens, okay, man? They play mobile games now? Well, that's the thing, right? Is like, at a certain point, like, if you don't have the same drive and the same aspiration and the same want to play games like this, I don't think that you should be developing them anymore, right? It's the same as, like, raiding. Like, back whenever I was young, I was, like, in Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and Cataclysm. I had a drive to raid that was extremely strong. I would never miss a raid. Well, I would miss raids on bosses I didn't need loot from. But besides that, I would never miss a raid. I would always show up. I would be completely buffed up. I would be ready to go. And I would know everything about the fights before I even went in there. And as time went on, I stopped caring. I got lazy, and it didn't matter to me anymore. Like, why would it matter? Who gives a shit? there's a point where the wheel of time turns, and sometimes it's time for people to ride out into the sunset and not come back. And for me in raiding, that's what happened in Tomb of Sargeras. I rode out into the sunset. I was done. And I didn't come back. If people don't have the same drive and the same love for the game that they used to, and they're playing mobile games all the time instead of playing the game that they're supposed to be developing and making better, then I think that they should look at finding people that actually do have that drive. And at least having those people, if nothing else, inspire the ones that used to have the drive to get it back. Because I don't think like any of the developers I don't think any of them want to destroy the game. I just feel like they don't know what they're doing. Because they're looking at the game from an analytical spreadsheet perspective, and they're not looking at the game from the perspective of what is it that motivates someone. Like you look at this screenshot right here, this picture right here. Preach is the only person that's really getting anything out of this. All of the rest of these players are just helping Preach. And I'm sure some of them, and like for me example, like what do I really get out of helping somebody else on their Whirlwind Axe or getting some sort of item? I don't really get a whole lot out of it at all. But it matters to me still. And I think that's really what makes the big difference. Streamer privilege? Well, no. See, that's the thing. Is like you can always write these things off. But why do I go back, turn around, and return the favor to somebody who I don't even know who they're... Well, I don't even know what they look like. Like, why would I do that to some random person on a beta? What causes somebody to do that? It's content? No, I'm not even doing it on stream. Like, I'm doing it off stream. Like friendship, streaming, yeah. Public image? What, from one guy? Who cares? You guys can try and write it off as some sort of, self-centered, self-serving goal. But the fact is that there's something a lot deeper than that that's happening. And there's a lot of people probably that haven't played Classic that won't understand that. Enjoyment? Yeah, I don't know, man. Some of us really care? Yeah, exactly. This video was really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a great video, and I hope Preach makes more of these videos. Let me read some comments here, and I'll take some responses. I'm no streamer, and I do this. Would you still help? Would you still help if you were level 60? Yeah. What else was I fucking do? Like, I'm only gonna queue BGs for a few hours a day. Then I'm gonna probably get bored of that, and I want to do something else. When the game's hard, it makes you have to interact with other people. And whenever you're out in the dangerous world, you need allies. And, it's kind of like maybe if you want to look at it as not completely an altruistic thing, you're paying it forward. You're helping them, so whenever the time comes, they'll help you. That's what it is. Do you have any concerns with faction balance on servers? Yeah, I think so. I do. I don't know really how bad it's going to be, but of course I'm worried about that. Of course it could happen. Problem is Activision/corporate structure. Well, that's the issue, right? Is that like all of these corporate structures and everything are creating the decisions that are ruining the game. I think that a lot of the decisions and things that happen in WoW are done because of some sort of corporate decision, right? There's some sort of thing like, okay, well, because there are this many people that are enjoying this content, even though everybody says they fucking hate it, they're doing it, so it must be good. Let's do it again, right? And they're just making decisions based off of spreadsheets. Like, that's the real issue. Check Ian's armory. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, he could have other characters too. I mean, I think Ian actually plays the game. Like, I don't think that Ian just doesn't play the game at all. I mean, like, and even if he doesn't play the game at all, like, he's the game director. Like, he's gonna, obviously he's gonna be fucking busy. Like, I mean, he's basically like the CEO of WoW. Like, yeah, he's not gonna have a whole lot of time. But there are plenty of other devs that I'm sure probably don't play the game hardly at all. Like, I wonder how many devs work on WoW that don't have a character at max level. You know what I mean? Retail player tries tanking in vanilla. Okay, just a second. Can we have the music ladder? Music should be fine. Player tries okay, there we go. Tries tanking vanilla. Okay. Wait, yeah, I watched this. Yeah, this wasn't really very funny. Yeah, I didn't think that was as funny because it was just like, this wasn't really that good. Personally. What would you think about a 30, 40, 50 progressive level cap? I don't like that idea at all. Did you see a Twitter thread I did of your adventure on Teremis yesterday? I'm not sure if I did or not. You have to watch Why Classic WoW Storytelling. Classic WoW Storytelling. Okay, let me see if I can find this. This is like 50. This is kind of long. I don't want to watch another long video like this. There is only one other video that I wanted to watch, right? And this is the Zaryu's thoughts about Classic. This is like another like high-end PvPer. And if I watch this, I'm not going to watch anything else besides that. But overall, I just want to go ahead and conclude my thoughts on the Preach video. I think that it was amazing, and I really liked it a lot, and I appreciate him making it. I really, really did like it. And you're going for rank 14? We'll see what happens, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to go for rank 14 or not. It's a possibility, but not necessarily a probability, if that makes sense. Yeah, watch the Vanilla WoW experience. I don't know about that, dude. If you like it a lot, then like the video. Well, usually I just click on the videos, and I don't really get in the habit of like liking videos, but I probably should do that more often. Are Twinks coming back with Classic? Yes. Check out the song. A Journey Home, a WoW Classic parody. Yeah, we are going to watch this. Just give me a second, because I like Jay's videos a lot, and we'll definitely do this, all right? He makes great videos. Remove the spider from your shoulder? What do you mean spider? Like in like game? That's like Archimon, dude. What are you talking about? It's not fucking spider. Okay.
Almost heaven, wild vanilla.
Yep.
Black Rock Mountain, Thunder Oriel River.
We went there.
The game was great then, a gaming fantasy.
There it is.
Terran Miller, South Shore, best world PvP. Come on, let's go and journey home to the game.
This is good.
We all have longed. World of Warcraft, WoW Vanilla. Come on, let's go and journey home.
Fuck yeah, dude.
All my memories.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Logger, Mancrick's lady, could never find her. Dark and dusty,
This is good.
deep into dead mines. Black Rock Death's an MC, a classic paradise. Come on, let's go.
That's right, man. That's
Journey
right.
home
There it is, boys. There it is.
to the game. We all have long. World of Warcraft.
This is actually really good. I haven't seen this before. This is really, really good.
Come on, let's go.
Holy shit.
And journey home. I take a boat down a Stranglethorn, it calls me. It feels like I was ganked again here just yesterday. And playing on my rogue, I get a feeling someone's asking, did someone say? Did someone say?
Did somebody just say Thunder Fury Blessed Blade of the Windseeker?
Oh, did someone say, oh, Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker?
Yo, can you guys shut the fuck up?
Oh, wow.
Continue, Jay.
Thank you, McConnell.
Come on, let's go and journey.
Well, everybody was part of that except me. Okay.
To the game.
Okay.
We all
Okay.
have
I didn't know McConnell was in
World
that.
of Warcraft.
Damn.
WoW Vanilla. Come on, let's go and journey home. Come on, let's go and journey home to the game. We all have lost.
This song is actually really good. Like, yeah, this is actually a good song.
WoW Vanilla. Come on, let's go and journey home. our journey home. Log on and go.
There it is,
to
boys.
our journey home.
I'll give you guys a link in the chat. There you go. There's the video. We'll give it a like. I'll give Jay a sub.